This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a couple of wonderful guests on here today. I have film director and I gotta say extraordinaire in terms of his documentaries, very impressive. Thommy Hutson, is that how you pronounce your last name, Hutson?
Yeah, Hudson, yes.
Hudson. And we're going to talk about your new film, The Id. And we also have a lady on the phone that I've been trying to get on here for the past year and a half at least. And I've talked to her a few times on Twitter. I'm talking about the lovely, the beautiful, the talented Amanda Wyss. How you do, Amanda?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great now that I got you on the phone.
Well, thank you.
I wanted to ask you, Amanda, do you remember the first time we've interchanged on Twitter?
You know what's so funny? I remember that we did, but I don't remember what we talked about.
Okay, I'm going to jog your memory because it was a Saturday morning. And I guess you were down in the dumps because you tweeted out, allergies, And I, being a big smartass, said to Freddy Krueger, and you said, ha ha, funny.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. Although you didn't get the single successful guy joke I made. I got you to make a comparison between Freddy Krueger and Judge Reinhold, and of course Judge Reinhold's a single successful guy.
Oh, right. You're right. I didn't get it. Oh, my gosh.
Yes. Well, folks, you guys have a new movie coming out, and I wish I could say that we will get it, but we probably won't, but that's not going to stop me from promoting it. Because
actually, it's going to be available on Amazon, so you should be able to get it in North America.
Ah, perfect. It should be available at the theaters, though.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree either.
Well, let's talk The Id. Now,
yes.
Yeah. Now, Thommy, this is your first film you've directed, is that correct?
That is correct. This is my directorial debut.
How was that like getting into that?
It was, exciting and scary at the same time. I had written and or produced a bunch of other projects in the documentary world and some in the feature world, and I had for a really long time wanted to get into the director's chair, and this opportunity came along kind of in a roundabout way with a confluence of events happening, really quickly, where I had met one of the financiers who wanted to make a project. I had just come off of a project with a writer friend who wanted to work together. So everything kind of coalesced, and I had always wanted to work with Amanda, who I've known for years. So it was a really exciting experience because everything was happening so quickly, but it was also great because I had so many people around me that I knew. So I felt really comfortable, even though I was going into somewhat uncharted territory. But I'm really, really happy with how everything came out.
Yeah, I hope you continue to work with Amanda.
We plan on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, my 50th interview was with Lisa Wilcox, and it was the first interview I did on Skype, so that was something new. And she said,
so sweet.
She said good things about the both of you,
Aww.
We love Lisa. Lisa's incredible.
We do.
She's a dear, a doll. She's great.
What he said, I feel the same way.
Yeah, she had to do Skype because she said the phone connection was not good where she was, so it was something new for me. And like I said, you're number 53, so I thought, well, my 50th interview should have been something different, so I went the Skype route.
Right.
But she said she goes hiking with you, Amanda.
We do. We go hiking together. It's our thing.
Does Robert Englund chase you guys through the woods?
No, he does not. I don't think Robert's chasing anyone these days.
And also, to be completely fair, there's very few woods in Los
Yes.
Angeles proper.
Yeah, there's no woods for it to be chased through.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't know that because I have never been outside New Brunswick. I got a question. Do you guys know where I'm located?
Yeah,
I mean, on a map. I mean, I've never been there, but I know where it is on a map.
Yeah, I've never been there either, but I love Canada. It's so beautiful. I'm from upstate New York, so we used to travel to Canada all the time. And now that I'm here on the West Coast, we often like to go up to Vancouver. It's beautiful.
Okay.
It is beautiful. I agree.
Well, about the closest we have to celebrities, I think it's the Trailer Park Boys. Are you too familiar with them?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're not too, you're kind of a very long roundabout hop, skip, and a jump from, Bangor, Maine. If you probably just grab a flight and you can go see Stephen King.
I probably
Oh,
could.
Yes.
Yeah, New Brunswick is just located very handy to Nova Scotia, which is Halifax, Nova Scotia, I believe is where Hobo with a Shotgun was filmed, because I know I got the papers to be an extra for it, but I just did not want to travel that far.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I gotcha.
Yeah, but that was filmed very handy, and of course the Trailer Park Boys as well, but which Ivan Reitman, of course, produced their first movie, so that was pretty
right.
close to us. But
Cool.
nonetheless, tell us what the id is about. I mean, I saw the trailer, but we want to hear from you.
I'll let the director tell you.
The id is about a woman who is kind of trapped in her home, taking care of her elderly sick father. And while she's doing all of that, she's sort of trapped in the past and living on the memories of her youth. And slowly, as events start to unfold, and she begins to wonder what her life could be like, someone from her past, who she was in love with, makes an appearance, and that sort of starts a chain reaction of events that leads her to feel, I have to get out from under the thumb of my father, but the reality is he isn't really ready to let her go so easily. So the two end up in a battle of wills and other battles, which culminate in some pretty exciting, thrilling, suspenseful, wacky stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say
That
that,
sums it up.
Amanda?
I would. I like that. I'm stealing it as they.
Well,
That's
and
perfect.
I think that such an important part of this movie is the relationship between Amanda's character Meredith and the gentleman Patrick, who plays the father, because it's so performance based, and Amanda has to go through like every color of the rainbow in terms of emotion. I mean, there's emotional highs, emotional lows. There's everything in between as she kind of battles not just her father, but herself. And Amanda played it beautifully, and I think that comes across on screen with such an emotional gravitas and a pathos and a sadness and a yearning. I think audiences are really going to identify with everything she's feeling, even though they may not agree with everything she's doing or they may not agree with everything that the father is doing. I think, and Amanda, you can let me know how you feel, that it's incredibly realistic and it really resonates with audiences, I think.
I agree. That's the feedback that we've both heard, that it's very moving and uncomfortable, and people really go on the ride with us with this story, and it's I'm excited. I'm excited for more people to see it.
Oh, I definitely want to see it. Like I said, the trailer looks fantastic, you know?
Yeah.
And
does.
Amanda, you've aged beautifully. You still look beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was going to say, Thommy, I find your documentaries, the ones you did on Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street, how exquisitely impressive. You brought all these people together to do that. Even Lisa Wilcox was singing your praises.
Isn't that amazing that he was able to put all that together? It blows my mind.
Well, I'll tell you, I've done a number of Friday the 13th interviews. I've had Adrian King on here. I've had Melanie Kinnaman on here. I've had Ted White, who was amazing, and Tiffany Helm. I've had a few people on here from those movies because I grew up with them, and that was just great to see that. Took me like 2 or 3 nights just to get through the Friday the 13th one, and then you get the Nightmare on Elm Street one, which, like, I'm waiting for you to do Halloween and Texas Chainsaw and so forth and so on. But
a lot of people say that as well. So, and thank you for saying such wonderful things. I mean, I had such a great team surrounding me. My producing partner for a lot of the shows, Daniel, and I, really wanted to put things together that fans would love, because we are fans. I mean, it was definitely a show for the fans, by the fans, and we grew up with these movies as well. And it is, it's a slog to wrangle all those people, not because they don't want to be a part of it. It's just rounding up, over 100 people. It just takes time and energy, and you're hoping that you're reaching the right person. I mean, there's been more than one occasion where we call a certain person and we say, is this so-and-so? And they say yes, and we say so-and-so from Friday the 13th, and then they either think we're insane or they hang up because it's the wrong person. But it's
and the scheduling that you went through to get everybody in the same place, or that's an impressive feat.
I thank you, and I do think that is actually the most difficult aspect of putting the shows together. It's not getting the people, because so often they're so excited to talk about it. It's literally getting everyone to sit down at the right place at the right time, on a certain schedule, because we have studio space and we're trying to make sure that we can get everyone in within a certain amount of time. And it's so fun when these people for the first time are walking through the door and you're getting to meet them, and it kind of brings back the memories of you watching the movie as a kid, at a sleepover, or sneaking into the movie theater. I'm really, really proud of all those shows, and I love exploring the making of those movies, not just because they have great stories, but because I watched them and loved them as a young person, and now I'm getting to dissect them and hear from the people who made them firsthand, how it all came together and what made them tick.
That's so cool.
Well, I'm now 44 years old, so I grew up with these films quite closely. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you are, Thommy, being able to connect with some of these people. My first interview was with somebody I think that you should do Freddie versus Thommy Wiseau, because Thommy Wiseau is my first interview.
That's very, very interesting. I can see the billboard in LA already.
Thommy, what was your favorite interview out of all those documentaries? Who was your favorite interview?
Oh my gosh. I mean, out of all of them, picking one person across the entire thing? Oh gosh.
Yes. Or different ones for different reasons. What were the reasons?
You know what? I have to think on that. There were a couple that were interesting. In Friday the 13th, I think there were a couple interviews that really shed light on just how, difficult it was to get those movies made. I think a lot of people don't think about the fact that Paramount kind of looked at those movies as, oh God, another one. Well, at least it's making us money, and let those kids run off into the woods and make their $2 million movie. To be honest, I'm a Nightmare aficionado. I love the film. I love the franchise. I was so enamored with Wyss's talent, and everyone kind of brought that whole world to life, after the fact. I loved the Nightmare interviews because there was so much to delve into with that franchise, with what Wyss, put on the screen, with what he was trying to say that wasn't on the screen, how it was breaking boundaries with horror and fantasy. It is. I'm not trying to skirt the question. It's just hard for me to pin down one person, because everyone collectively tells such great stories and this here and there. And I mean, there are moments where people reveal things that they've never revealed before, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, should I have said that?" And we're like, "Yes."
You know what I thought was fun about that, being a part of the franchise, was, you kind of work in your own little squad in a way, or you have your own personal experience when you're on a set, and to hear everybody else's stories, because in real time you're not usually talking about the experience you're having. So to have all these people that I've come in contact with over the years or worked with start telling these stories and their thoughts about the experience they had, it was so illuminating to me, because I didn't know any of that. So it was very exciting to be a part of it and to learn so much about all the people I worked with and the franchise all at the same time.
And I think that actually touches on something I was going to say is my favorite part about doing the documentaries. is literally, you as an actor are meeting people who went on to create roles in other movies that were born out of the original film, which you were a major component of. So, like you said, not only do you get to hear the stories of the making of their movies, but we get to hear them with all of this time that has passed. So we can you guys can look back at these movies not only from just a movie-making standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint, from a fan perspective, like why do fans still love these movies 30 years later? I just think it's so great to explore movies that have been such a touchstone in the genre for so many years. And when people have come up to me and said, "Oh, I'd love you to make a documentary about movie X," and it would be something that was released 2 years ago, it's not time. There's not enough time has passed to really appreciate, and frankly, sometimes you need time for people to come out of the woodwork and really tell their true experience.
Right. And the cool thing is now with the book, it's like a whole different sort of experience of finding out that information, which I think is exciting too.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that original Nightmare on Elm Street, and of course Amanda in the kind of the Janet Leigh psycho kind of role, where we think the movie's about her, and it turns out to be about Heather. And
What's exciting now, because that experience was so amazing in that role that Wyss created, and I'm so grateful for that it's become so iconic. And the fun thing is now with this movie, that Thommy and I made, you may even start out thinking that, you know what I mean? But that's not the case in this film. And I'm excited for you to see it. It's definitely my most challenging role to date, and it's my most fulfilling role to date. And I really got to pour my heart and soul into it and sink my teeth into it. And I think Thommy and I worked together so well. We sort of had a mind meld over my character. I mean, and it was a really exciting experience to really dive into a character that complex. And I'm so excited for people to see the movie and to hear the responses, even if it's not 100% favorable, which I think it will be. But I just think people, especially horror and thriller fans, will really, really like this movie. I just think we did something special and fun and creepy and scary. And don't you agree, Thommy?
I do. And what I was going to say is I wanted to add, on top of what you were saying, is just the idea that we all kind of came together, and even though it's a smaller movie, we were all on location. We were all staying at the hotel. We kind of became, one hopes will happen. We became a little film family to create this little, weird, strangely humorous, dark, upsetting movie. And I think that one of the compliments that we've been getting is the fact that, some people watch the movie and they say, I just don't know if I can watch it again.
Yeah.
And because it affects
I take
them,
it as a compliment.
I do too, and I think it's because it affects them in terms of the reality of the situation. While some elements of the film are taken maybe to the nth degree, it's all grounded in the reality of what Meredith, your character, is going through, and what the dynamic is between you and the father. And the other thing is, one of the greatest things about Amanda is that she is just a powerhouse of acting talent. I mean, there is very, very, very little going on in this film where she is not on screen. I mean, it's your movie because it's just all about you. And when it's not about you, it's about what's going on in your head. And I think that shines through in a way, again, that lets people look into your eyes and simultaneously feel bad for you, but also worry for you and are sort of afraid of you. It just comes together, like you had said, a fantastic quote, but I love it. It's like a delicious stew of madness. And I agree. We can't wait for people to see it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I love it. It really was a film family, and that's one of the... Guys, it doesn't happen very often, but especially when you're on location and everybody's sort of living the experience. We're not going home to our real lives, and so you're able to sort of suspend reality for a while you're just immersed in the project, and I find that to be really satisfying. I mean, sometimes that goes haywire, but it's usually really satisfying, and it was super satisfying with this film. And thank you, Thommy, for those nice compliments.
Well, Thommy,
you're welcome.
To you, by the way.
Well, Thommy, did you write this with? Did you write the role of Meredith with Amanda in mind?
Well, I didn't write the movie.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
I did not write the movie. The idea came out of something I wanted to do, which was kind of a riff on a certain idea that was percolating. So my producing partner on this, Daniel, and I spoke about it, and then I went to my friend Sean because he and I wanted to work together. Sean Stewart, the writer. I was on another project, and as much as I would have loved to have written something as my directorial debut, I just didn't have the time, and I didn't want to let the opportunity slip by. So we gave Sean a lot of the parameters of what we wanted and what we didn't want. And when he turned in his first draft, then he and I definitely worked together in terms of its development. I always wanted to work with Amanda, so I was really, really excited when I described this to her because I wasn't sure, actually, if she would want to do this kind of role. I wasn't sure if she wanted to make a smaller movie. And if I remember correctly, Amanda, I think you read it maybe the day or the day after I sent it to you, and you immediately clicked with it, and you got it, and you were like, I'm in. And that helped everything just roll downhill and fall into place when she came on board.
Yeah. When I read it, I was like, I have to do this. Have to. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm glad I did.
I was just going to say, I'm glad you did.
Me too.
So, Amanda, would you say this is your most emotionally challenged role you've done throughout your career?
Yeah, this is definitely my most challenging, fulfilling role to date. Of a really full, complete, exotic character that was fun to sink my teeth into and tell an interesting story. It was definitely the best. Yeah.
How do you get yourself in that mindset? Because you got some heavy emotional scenes, like judging from the trailer.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's just always looking for the truth. Like, what's the truth of this? And I don't know. It's just my process. I don't know how to describe it. It's just how it works for me. I don't know.
We could say something. Let's just create a story because I know that we get asked this question. We'll do the Hitchcock thing and we'll say that I told you your dog got hit by a car. Go.
You know what? That's funny. I like that. Yeah, you know what? I just feel like, I studied and trained for a long time and I have, tools in my toolbox, but mostly it's just finding the truth of like, all right, what's the objective here? What's the obstacle? What's happening? What's the truth? Who are these people? What's happening?
And I think one of the things that, you are great at and what you brought to this role in particular is your intentions are always so clear and pure. And I think that's really important. There's no confusion, I think, in your performances, I think, in general, and particularly in this, because I clearly paid attention, every second of every moment we were on set.
Yeah, that was awesome, by the way.
There's never a moment where it's not truthful, where you are not Meredith. And it is a very, very difficult place to go. I mean, when people watch the movie, they will see the emotional highs and the emotional lows. And there are depths in this movie, and I think that it is not an easy thing for anyone to get to or come out of quickly, which I think, unfortunately, probably for you, Amanda, it isn't great to have to wallow in that while you're trying to reset yourself. Okay, it's lunchtime.
Well, it was interesting because I really went down the rabbit hole for that part, and then I didn't shake it for a long time after we wrapped the movie. And in fact, you remember when we went back to do ADR, which is the looping for the film, I couldn't. Remember, I was like, "Wow, where was I? I couldn't."
Yeah, it was. You had to get back there.
Yeah, it was hard. It took a while to get back into that, and I hadn't realized, how far down that rabbit hole. And I think because we were on location, I had the luxury to really dive into that and live in that world. for the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
happened.
I mean that's the thing. Like in the movie, the house is, it's run down. It's not the cleanest place, and that was there. That was something that you were able to play off of. Getting into a bathtub that didn't look, the cleanest is pulling, I think, a real reaction out of people when they watch the movie. Because you look at it and you're like, oh my God, the bathtub is dirty. But it's like,
oh my God,
that's part of it,
Yeah, it totally was. It was a really, really exciting and challenging experience that is definitely like, gosh, I'm so grateful for it. And I just keep saying it, but I'm super excited for people to see the movie.
I'm super excited for it. Yeah. We just merely lost Wes Craven not too long ago. Do you two have any thoughts?
Well, it's sad and unexpected loss at the time that it happened for, I think people that knew him and fans alike. And I think there's been a collective grieving because he meant so much to so many people in their own way. Everybody had an experience with him, whether it was from his movies or personally. And, I'm excited to be a part of his legacy, and I'm proud that I was in something, that, meant a lot to him and it ended up meaning so much to me. And, he was a really cool, creative, talented man.
And that scene where your kill scene in A Nightmare on Elm Street, the process for which he filmed that was like, I was listening to the commentary track and what he did to do that, where you're going up and around the wall and you're all bloody. What a creative process. Must have been very time consuming. What was that like to do?
Let's see. It was, I think we shot it in a day, and, it was very by the numbers, actually. It was in a room that rotated, and, we had certain things we had to accomplish, before there was blood. And so it was very mechanical and interesting and challenging, and, in the room that spun around, that was based on a room from, I believe it's an American in Paris. Does that sound right, Thommy? The spinning room thing?
The Fred Astaire movie with dancing, quote unquote, dancing on the ceiling. Yeah,
dancing on the ceiling. So that was kind of, as a film buff, that was kind of fun. I'm like, oh my God, this is such cool technology. And so that was just like, I've never had to film anything like that ever since. I mean, it was just so many moving pieces and people strapped in chairs and, furniture glued to the walls. I mean, all that stuff was crazy. It was definitely Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
There you go.
Well, I think what people don't realize too is, I mean, Wes and the crew and the cast, they did so much with so little. I mean, the budget of that movie was not high. They only had an original 31 days. And when you hear Amanda talk about it, it's like filming that scene in a day, just the logistics of that kind of thing. And I think that is a testament to not just Wes as a director who knows what he wants and finds the crew that can help him make it happen and finds the cast that can bring it to life, but, it's just the creativity that he helped usher in, which, it was very new in 1984, the kind of thing he was doing, and it obviously completely worked out because we're still talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street decades later, and sequel is happening.
It's so crazy. I mean, and that scene's, been on the Academy Awards. It's fascinating, and that we did all that on that movie. It always blows my mind.
It's interesting too. Some of the casting, like, look where Johnny Depp is today. Like, I'm waiting for Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp, Mr. Jack Sparrow, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I have no idea who that is. I don't know.
He sounds interesting. We should check him out, man.
Yeah, we'll check him out. I'm going to IMDb him later.
You guys need to do Jack Sparrow versus Freddy now.
I don't know if anyone can really win against Freddy, can they? I mean, listen, they had Jason versus Freddy, and that's still a toss-up. So I don't know.
No, but Johnny Depp, like, he's had quite a career, and Charles Fleischer before Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Lynn Shay, of course, in all those Fairley Brothers movies.
I love Lynn Shay so much. She's just
Lynn is
such a huge fan of hers.
Lynn is
and
pretty
she's
awesome.
just such a beautiful human being.
Yeah, and of course Heather Langenkamp, who in that commentary track is always making fun of her own hair.
It's a lot of hair. That was a lot of hair she had.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah,
she's amazing too.
Yes.
The thing is, I mean, and that's one of the things that really comes out in that movie is those characters, those kids, they were real. You know, Amanda and Johnny and Nick and Heather and everybody, they brought a reality and a camaraderie together. You believed in these kids. You believed that they were friends. I mean, you thought they were your next door neighbor. There was nothing artificial about what Wes had put together, and he just chose so perfectly, I think, in casting, because everyone clicked. You guys clicked. You made a unit that was real.
And we're still in each other's lives, which I think is interesting. That felt. Hey, what do you think? Do you think Meredith is a grown-up Tina if Tina's life had gone, if she had not been killed by Freddy?
Do you think there's poor Tina?
You know,
do you think that would have been her lot in life?
That's actually such a fascinating theory, only because I'm not sure that, you know, anyone who goes through something like what Tina would have gone through and maybe survived would ever have fully recovered. I mean, listen, I don't think it's a secret to say that Tina was kind of already broken. You know, because of her home life and her mother and the mother's multiple boyfriends. And I love that idea. I think we should explore that because I think
somebody asked me that in an interview, and I was like, oh, yeah, it could be my grown-up Tina Gray, yeah.
It's interesting because, you know, she shunned the outside world and, you know, and found solace with, you know, her father and taking care of him. And, you know, it could very well be. I think we need to
maybe
explore that
the absentee dad came back and she ended up taking care of him.
There you go.
His mom ran off with the boozy, floozy mom ran off with someone.
and Tina tracked her wayward father down.
Yes, because she needed someone, much to her later regret.
Much to her later regret.
I gotta.
Well, listen, I have to wrap this up because I have to go. I'm so sad and sorry, but I do.
Well, yeah, Amanda is actually excitingly on location for an upcoming project. So that's
yes, I'm in New York filming a movie, and I'm being called to work.
Well, I would love to just say that, you know, we're excited for people to see the Id, and it's such a great little movie, and people can get it through Amazon. And also, I do want to put out there that people all over, even outside of LA and California, can go to Dark Delicacies and order a copy and have it shipped to them, which is signed by Amanda and other cast and myself. And people can find that on the website, which is www.darkdel.com. It's the bookstore is called Dark Delicacies, and they're fantastic, and they have so many wonderful things related to the genre.
If you're a fan of horror, this store is amazing, and we're going to be doing a signing there on October 23rd at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And so if you're in Los Angeles, please come say hello and get a copy of the film. But if you're not, like Thommy said, you can order from Dark Delicacies, and we'll send it to you signed.
I have a question, Amanda, because I don't want to keep you any longer, but you were in one of my all-time favorite movies, which was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
And that film celebrates its 35th anniversary next year. And I was wondering if you would be so gracious to come on here next year and celebrate it with me.
Absolutely.
I would love to have you back on. I was going to talk about it today with you, but again, I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to.
No. They're just calling me to work. I gotta work.
Yeah. So would you come on next year?
Yes.
Well, I
Absolutely.
appreciate that because this is such an honor to have you on here. I've been trying to
Oh,
get you
thank
for
you.
a year and a half.
Oh, well, thank you. And you know what? It's been a thrill talking about it with you and being on here with Thommy, talking about our movie, The Id, which we're both so thrilled to have it be coming out so soon. And thank you for letting us share our enthusiasm for The Id, which we're both, like I said, just so excited that it's being released. And you can get your early copy from Dark Delicacies. And we can't wait to hear what people think.
Well, you know what?
Definitely.
It's funny because when I watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High, as funny as Sean Penn is as Jess Spicoli, I'm always distracted by that pretty smiling blonde sitting behind him.
Oh, well, you're very sweet. Thank you.
There
Thank you. Well,
It-
and thank you so much for having me on and letting us talk about our movie. And Thommy, it was fun doing this with you.
Yeah,
And-
definitely. We're glad that we could come on and talk a little bit about what's happening, and definitely talk about the Id, which, again, check out Amazon or Dark Delicacies and grab your copy.
Yes, please do. And all right, I'm signing off so that I can go film my new movie. And I love you. And it was very nice chatting.
Well, Amanda, I gotta get an autographed picture at some point of you.
Sounds good.
Maybe
All
I'll
right, my dear.
I'll message you on Twitter or whatnot.
Okay, that sounds good. All righty.